Hello everyone, and this is Phoenix here, and today we're going to be doing a tagged video because I got tagged by someone, and the person that tagged me happened to be Power Metal Gamer. He's a really awesome YouTuber and a good YouTube friend of mine, so it was actually pretty awesome for him to tag me in this kind of video. And if I remember right, the original person that started this whole tagged one is Lance Boy Sport 1975, Home with the Dave, I believe his name is. I forget the entire thing. It's a really long ass name, and in fact it'll probably be here somewhere. But yeah, he was the one that started this whole thing, and he's also a very good YouTuber too. I actually enjoy his content quite a lot. So anyways, without further ado, this topic is about 5 of your most nostalgic games. So, of course, what they mean by nostalgic games, they mean games that you grew up playing and ones that you can just go back to and it'd be like, yeah, this is some good stuff. You know, that kind of thing, which is always nice. So, of course, we're going to be talking about 5 of them that for me, personally, and then at the end of the video, I'm going to be tagging 5 other people to do the same type of topic, and of course, I always enjoy doing these because it's always good to just shout out more channels at the end of everything, and of course, whenever someone tags me in, I'm like, yeah, another video idea. Because, you know, I enjoy doing all these kinds of things. I'm open up to various amount of topics, so with that being said, let's start the video. Alright, so the first game we're going to be talking about is on the Super Nintendo, and in case you don't know, the Super Nintendo is the first system I ever owned, so of course, that's the system that I have the most memories with, or at least a good portion of them. And seriously though, that system is just rocks. So yeah, it was given to us by one of my cousins who wanted to get an N64, but he decided to give us a Super Nintendo because he just didn't feel like he needed it anymore. But hey, I'm not going to complain because, well, like I already said, that system is just amazing. So, the first game on that system that we're going to be talking about, and that happens to be one of the first games I ever played, or at least I can remember playing, and that's Donkey Kong Country. Now, I know I've talked about this game many times before, but what can I say? This game is just pretty damn fantastic. I mean, it's probably one of my many favorite games on the system, and it's probably one of my favorite games of all time. Not just because it's one of the first games I ever played, but it's just top-notch in, like, almost every way possible. I mean, you know, like, the controls in it were, like, almost perfect. I mean, there was also, like, the graphics were beautiful. The music is just very, very, very nostalgic to me, because every time I, like, hear the music in this game, it's like, oh yeah, that definitely takes me back, and it just, yeah, very happy feels, and I love that. And, of course, it's just amazing sounding, too, so, which is important for music, but, yeah, so it's just some fun memories with this game. I remember me, my sister, and some of my cousins, we used to play this game, and when we used to play it, when we first tried out that mode where, you know, one person uses Diddy and the other one uses Donkey Kong, it was kind of annoying because everyone would keep on hogging up their turns, because you know how you had to switch, like, places, you both had to press select at the same time. Well, so everyone would just be like, okay, only one person pressed select, but the other one didn't, because it'd be like, no, it's my turn, you bitch. Okay, well, we didn't say bitch, but, you know, I'm just, like, modernizing it kind of thing. But anyways, so that's, like, the one thing where it was kind of annoying until we played the contest mode, where I think it was competition, I think it was called, where pretty much one person is, like, you're both, like, playing as Diddy and Donkey Kong, and one of them's, like the standard color, which is red, and the other one was yellow, so we're both playing through the levels each time, so that was definitely a lot better, and I always like playing this game like that. If I ever played this game with someone, I always turn on that mode, because, you know, I just hate hoggers. So, anyways, this game is just fantastic, and I don't have anything bad to say about it, and of course, it's just one of my many favorite games, and of course, very nostalgic to me. Alright, so the next Super Nintendo game we're going to be talking about, and this will be the last Super Nintendo game I'm going to be mentioning in this video, just because I just wanted to talk about some other games on other systems that I also grew up playing. So, anyways, so this is a game I briefly mentioned in my pickup video just for a quick second, and that happened to be The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. And as you can tell, it has a little bit of worn on the label, but you know what, that's totally fine, because that just proves that it's shown its age. So, what can I say? You know, I already mentioned how this game is actually my favorite Zelda game of all time. It's definitely, like, my top favorite, and no, the reason of why it's like that is not just because it's my first Zelda game I ever played. I mean, yeah, that could probably be a big part of it, but it's also because I just loved all the aspects of this game. I mean, it was, they had some really awesome level designs. I really liked the settings in the game. I mean, I love, like, the whole light world, dark world setting. And of course, the game had a really big range between like all like the music in the game, because it had like a lot of like happy sounding songs. It had some pretty epic sounding songs. It even had some pretty like terrifying sounding songs, like the cave theme, or even like the theme when you get turned into a rabbit. That used to scare the crap out of me as a kid, just because, you know, you were like a harmless little rabbit and you couldn't attack and everything could just murder you. Yeah, it was definitely kind of freaky, especially at the time anyways. Now I'm just gonna laugh at it, but either way though, that's definitely some really good memories I had with this one, at least one of them anyways. And of course, one of the bigger things that I can remember with this game is that like me and my sister and one of my good friends at the time, we actually played the shit out of this game during one summer. And that's because we really, really wanted to beat it, because, you know, this was during a time before I really knew what the internet was, so there was no walkthroughs or anything like that. So we spent all summer trying to beat this game. Well, actually, we spent that entire summer doing two things: going to the pool and playing this game. And of course playing many other games as well, but this one mostly though, just because we really wanted to finish the whole game, and we eventually did, although it did take really long, mainly because someone actually deleted our file, and I don't even remember who did it though, but I was so pissed because I was like, fuck, I have to start all the way back at the beginning. But then eventually we actually did beat it though, but man, it was definitely a very, very interesting time, and of course, when we did beat this game, it was definitely a very good accomplishment. So with that being said, just love this game. Alrighty, so the next game we're going to be taking a look at is on the PlayStation 1. Now, as for the PS1, this was a system that my dad actually owned, but there were some times that we, you know, every time we'd go visit him, we'd play it, and of course there were also other times where we would actually borrow the system and then play it on our own time. So when that happened, he actually ended up giving us a game, and that game happened to be a game that unfortunately I don't have the original copy to it. I don't know what happened to it, but I do have it digitally on my PS3, so at least that counts for something, right? So anyways, the game just happened to be Crash Bandicoot 2. Yeah. So, when I first played this game, I was pretty mind-blown again, mostly because it wasn't really like Mario or Donkey Kong Country, because it wasn't just a side-scroller. Yeah, it had side-scrolling parts in them, but the thing was that you can actually move around in all directions, and I was like, oh, dude, like, this is awesome. So, of course, I was like, oh my god, yeah. So, you know, that was pretty damn great. And then, of course, there was also, like, those levels where you're actually running towards the screen, you know, like the ones where you're getting chased by, like, a polar bear or a rock, much like in Indiana Jones, which is always awesome. You know, I really like that. And, of course, I always found that Crash's design was always really interesting looking. I mean, I had no idea he was a Bandicoot until, like, you know, in the title it says Crash Bandicoot, and I was like, what the hell's a Bandicoot? Then, of course, I also later found out that, you know, bandicoots are from Australia, so it was like, okay, that's pretty cool. So yeah, with that, all that being said, you know, I liked the graphics to it. I thought it was nice, bright, and colorful. Then, of course, I also liked the mask. I forget his name in the game. It's been a while since I played it, though. But I remember, like, every time you get it, when you open up the box and you get him, he's like, and I would always try to figure out what he's trying to say. And I'd be like, okay, what is that? Like, I don't know. It was just a really fun time, and I just really enjoyed this one for that. And hell, even my mom actually liked that game, which is pretty surprising, because she's not really a hardcore gamer. I mean, the only game she ever played was Tetris, which is pretty cool enough in my opinion, because I like Tetris too. So yeah, Crash Bandicoot 2 was definitely one that I'll always remember for that. It's just unfortunate I don't have it anymore, but that will change in the future. So the next game we're going to be talking about is also on the PS1, and this is a game that I talk about quite often, and of course if you've been on my channel long enough, you probably already have an idea of what it is. So let's get that out of the way, and that happens to be Tecmo's Deception Invitation to Darkness. Yeah. Well, I should say hell yeah, because this game is awesome, and of course it's all about resurrecting the devil, and playing this game as a kid, yeah, that probably might question my sanity. So, anyways, so this is a game I'm probably going to have to explain a little bit on, because it is a little bit obscure. So, when you first start up the game, you get to name your person, and of course, you know, just because as a kid, I used to have to name him like something like very inappropriate and very immature, like calling him like Mr. Wiener and such, you know, I'm sure we've all done that at least once, right? So, you know, after you naming him, and then after that, the king, like, ends up dying, and then you get framed for it, and then as you get framed for it, you get sent to a castle to die there. But what happens is that you actually take over the castle, and then, of course, the other guy, being your brother, ends up sending guys to go after you. after he finds out that you haven't died yet. So, when you first get into the castle, it actually kind of seems like a survival horror because the person who owns the castle before you has like a Jason Voorhees mask and he's like chasing around you with a sword. So I thought that was like really, really creepy at the time. But this game actually used to scare the crap out of me as a kid, mostly because, you know, like the music, the atmosphere, and of course, because of the fact that this game has a lot of draw distance, which it was pretty common at the time. So with the draw distance being a thing, you know, you'd be walking down a hallway, and then as like the more you start walking, the more you'd start seeing further, and I would always be afraid that there would be like a scary face was gonna like pop up like at you or something. I don't know, it was really funny. Well, it's funny now. At the time, I was like, oh my god, no, I don't want to play this anymore. But yeah, it was just funny thinking about it now. So that's something I definitely do remember about this game. And of course, one of the main objectives of the game, like after you get past the whole beginning part, is that you actually have to set traps on people, which is why I consider this game to be very unique. And I always try and recommend it to people that want to play something that is very unique and different, because there's not many games out there that play like this, and I have to give it credit for its originality. And of course, it's the fact that I just think it's an awesome game all around, and like I said, this is probably the game, the reason why I'm so goddamn crazy, because it's just such a weird game, but it's just so fun and amusing, and of course, like, the bad guys in this game, they all have, like, really dumb names, which is always funny. So, there's so many other things I can talk about with this game, but I'm just gonna leave it short here, because I think for sometime in the future, probably in July, this game is actually going to be 20 years old this year. So I think I might actually do a video talking about my memories with this game and the series in general, so yeah, that's definitely going to be an interesting idea. So for now, I'll just leave it as, this game is very nostalgic to me because it's very, like, you know, it's very creepy, and of course, I just love it a lot. Alright, so the last nostalgic game that I'm going to be talking about here is going to be on the N64. Now, when it came to the N64, I didn't own one until, like, the year 2000, but I have played one before then, and that was because of my cousin, the same one that gave us the Super Nintendo and got the N64, so that's how I first played it, and of course how I was really hyped about wanting to get one. So the first game that I ever played on that, and it happened to be the first game that I got on Christmas the year that I got my N64, and that happened to be Super Mario 64. Aw, yeah. Yeah, this is definitely like one of my favorite Mario games for sure. Now, it was pretty revolutionary at the time, mostly because, you know, it was, you know, like what I said about Crash Bandicoot, it was very amazing just to be able to play in, like, all, like, directions and such. It was definitely awesome. And, of course, I just love the openness of this game, you know, with just exploring the castle, exploring, like, outside of the castle, and, of course, jumping into the paintings, and then exploring all those. It definitely felt like a really massive, big game to me at the time, and I just really loved that. It was definitely an experience that you can only experience once. Well, at least for the first time, anyways. So, yeah, the other thing else I have to explain that might sound a little bit weird is that, I remember as a kid, I was always wondering if you can actually, like, leave the island, like, you know, like, the area where, like, outside the castle. I was always wondering if you can actually, get over, like, the hill, and there would be, like, other places you can go, like, you know, like a mushroom village or something like that, or a cave. I was always wondering if you could do that. Obviously, you can't, but, you know, it's always one of those adventurous things where I was always wondering if there was ways you can actually get out there and then there's actually more to explore to the game, because the game really did feel that massive. Of course it isn't, but it definitely was something that I always was really curious about. It probably has to do with the fact that, you know, when you go outside for recess at school, and they'd always used to tell you, being like, okay, you can't go past the trees, that's like out of bounds over there. But of course you're always very curious to know what was outside of out of bounds. That's kind of that curiosity, the exact same kind of thing of why I love this, or I love that whole idea that was going on in my head. So, of course, that's why I always really remember this game, and I really don't need to say anything else about it. I mean, this game just kicks ass. So that takes us to the end of this nostalgic video, and of course, before we have to end it, I have to do out some shoutouts, which is the fun part, because this is the part that I always like, is that you can pretty much get to shout out to other channels, so more people can go check them out, and of course, they get to do their own version of this type of video with their own nostalgic memories of games, or whatever the topic is, and then they have to tag more people. So that's always nice. So, I got 5 channels right here, and they are, Bossenberg, who is an awesome channel at doing some JRPGs, and of course, he's just a really nice dude. So that's always a good one. And then there's Gaming Through the Decades, who is a channel I found out couple months ago, and he's a really good guy. He does some really good pickup videos and does some like really good discussion pieces, and well, he's just an overall really nice dude. Actually, okay, they're all really nice dudes here, okay? I don't think I need to go over that over time, but yeah, everyone here is nice and is very, very enjoyable. And then after that, there's Majora T. He's a channel that does a lot of reviews on many different things. Like, he doesn't only do it on video games, he also does it on movies, even books. So it's actually pretty cool knowing that someone does reviews on many different sorts of medium. So yeah, that's actually pretty awesome. And then there's Big Will, who's a channel that does a lot of gaming discussions. Like, I know, like, the latest video that he did was on like monster games, like games based after monsters and such, you know, like Godzilla and whatnot, like that kind of thing. The last channel that I'm going to mention here is a channel that is very recent, or at least he started doing videos recently, and that is the Black Metal Gamer, because black metal is fucking cool. And also, he's just a really awesome dude. He actually does have some really good, like, topic ideas, which are always fun to listen to and such like that. So yeah, so those are my 5 people I'm going to tag in this video to do some nostalgic gaming, because we all have our nostalgic gaming, or at least I'm sure we all have them, because we all have grown up playing video games. So anyways, with that being said, I have to thank Power Metal Gamer for tagging me in this video, and of course I also have to thank Long Boy Post for, I think, that's what I'll call you for now. I do apologize if I'm butchering your name, but I also have to thank him for coming up with this whole idea, which is always awesome. Thank you for watching and commenting, and hopefully you enjoy.